Wave 4 for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass is coming the 9th of March, and we're revving up the analysis machine once again to cover it all. In addition to an incredible new track based entirely on the original Yoshi's Island, 7 classic courses return with noticeable differences from their last appearances that we spotted from the North American teaser trailer, Japanese website clips, official screenshots, and even some exclusives from Nintendo Dream Web. Additional clues were found by contributors of the Mario Wiki. So let's drive straight in. Tour Amsterdam Drift is the first course of the Fruit Cup. Nice. And so far, it has the fewest number of changes, but rest assured, we will see all 3 main variants from Tour combined for this version. Like we mentioned before, 3R also is incorporated, as seen by this shot with the tram. Because of this switch to reverse, it seems that a previously unused portion of the track will be traversed at some point during the race, close to the finish line here. Not much else is confirmed other than the graphical and musical tweaks, but it appears that the train along the river will arrive just in time for racers to encounter it, which didn't happen much before, if at all. GBA Riverside Park returns after its huge visual update and tour, and some fun details can be found here. First and foremost, Poochy's from Super Mario Bros. 3 return, now fully modeled for their first appearance in Mario Kart. Found pacing the path and off-road, they balance items like mushrooms and bananas, but if you hit one of these plants, it will drop the item. The collapsed bridge nearby no longer has a dash panel, but one can trick off the remaining ramp still. Oh, and the fallen logs here are arranged a bit differently. Looking all around, we can see that the modeled clouds from Tour were replaced by realistic clouds. The river water now ripples and flows. Traffic cones were added by this mud pit, and the logo over the starting line sign was switched from an orange gradient to pure white. In the cave, headlights turn on, and glowing mushrooms can be spotted along the wall. Even the modified ramp leading out of the cave seems to glow. Other such texture and particle effects were added for polish throughout the course. Wii DK Summit, also known as Wii DK Snowboard Cross, is another classic that received a tour overhaul. But what begs for attention the most is the grand return of the Jumbotron, which hasn't been seen since Wii, and it has a new style too. Later, Princess Orange! Various smaller tweaks were made too, such as how the barrier by the first deep snow near the DK statue appears fully closed like the original, and more of this red fencing is extended beneath the statue. Following this reverting trend, the statue itself appears to be made of wood again, rather than Tour's stone. And also like in Wii, the ramps amidst the bumpy moguls return to having full-length dash panels. The half-pipe after this field has a line of items, requiring some racers to aim high to collect. Also requiring some height for collection is the placement of these coins by the snowboarding Shy Guys, differing a bit from Tour and honestly seeming a bit closer to how the item placement was in the original. Additionally, the mountains in the background don't seem very cel-shaded anymore. Yoshi's Island appropriately concludes the Fruit Cup. We looked over the course when it was revealed recently, and a link to the video can be found in the description below. But some additional details are worth mentioning. The piranha plants curve and bite in the same style as their Super NES counterparts. The coins also are unique, with each sporting Yoshi's face and making an exclusive sound as they did in the Dinosaur's Big Adventure. Even the winged cloud and activated bridge use the same sound effects as they did all those years ago. Speaking of audio, the music is none other than the athletic theme from Yoshi's Island, now arranged in a way that retains that same great Dixieland jazz flavor, but we'll get more into that in our full course analysis. Internal data suggests that the track also will appear in Tour at a later date. Tour Bangkok Rush starts off the Boomerang Cup. It has all 3 variants represented as expected, but it is unknown currently if any of them feature driving in the reverse direction. In any case, after the first lap, items will appear magically on the starting line. What has disappeared is the plank that led up the Maglong Railway Market, only allowing the right set of awnings to be traversed. Meanwhile, the Asiatique Sky Ferris wheel now spins, and above it, fireworks burst into the now lightened sunset sky. DS Mario Circuit was recently announced to return in the 2023 Mario Tour for Mario Kart Tour, boasting most of the following revisions. We'll start with the elephant in the room, or rather the wiggler in the new forest after the giant pipe. At first, this fellow is asleep, but either racers or elapsed time wakes up this temperamental caterpillar. Poor little birds! This area also seems to have been where the dirt path started originally. That now begins a bit further down the road, namely after this ramp that appears in Tour and probably will be in the Switch version too. The dirt path ends a bit later as well, and in this spot, it's most obvious that elevation changes were made. We still haven't taken a look at the starting line yet, which is just beyond the S-curve from here. The sign was redesigned with a modern logo, and a new leaderboard stands beside it with modern sponsors. The black checks of the starting line were changed to red, the curb lines were altered, and a center line was added along the road. And confetti was scattered all over the area here in celebration for the occasion. Even Peach's castle has been revamped a bit, including the bridge and surrounding lake area. Compared to Tour specifically, the flags are different and actually flap in the wind now, and there are fewer flowers in the nearby grass. There are various other visual tweaks around the whole track, like the added spotted hills in the background, that we'll address in the upcoming dedicated analysis. GCN Waluigi Stadium has been rebuilt from the ground up, and not just in terms of visuals. An Iron Mesh Road, or Kanami Road as it is called officially in Japanese, was installed just after the last Mecha Piranha plant. It features a dash panel ramp leading onto the bumps, known as whoops in motocross, below. Beyond this point is a new dash panel along with a familiar half-pipe that allows for an anti-gravity leap onto another Kanami Road. This one has 2 boost pillars and a glide ramp at the end. Below this, the S-curve was reshaped a bit to be more rugged. Other gameplay changes can be found earlier on, like how the fire chain at the first jump spins counterclockwise like in Wii again, and the dash panels here were reduced from 4 to just 2, no longer multicolored. The first 2 Mecha Piranha plants now are side by side and oriented diagonally rather than being arranged to alternate between the 2 sides, and they no longer make biting motions. All along the half-pipes here, coins were added to mix in with the items. 2 fire bars remain from the previous 3, no longer sporting eyes. Finally taking in the eye candy, we see that the starting line sign was given a flashy revamp, complete with a quadricolor classic logo. Even more of an eye grabber is the modified Jumbotron, which now includes a leaderboard, speakers, and Waluigi image attached, switching out Waluigi Kart with Waluigi Stadium. Less flashy but certainly shiny, the entire muddy track was made very wet in appearance, but the star patterns off-road sadly are missing. Instead, there are all sorts of new things, like a steel tower, neon arrow sign, dump trucks, excavators, a boom lift, and tires everywhere. Smaller tires not really affecting gameplay are placed in various spots on the road too. Outnumbering all the tires are the members of the audience, all holding glow sticks or pin lights. Goombas, Boos, and the light blue Birdo clones from Wii no longer are present, but now Birdos of all colors, including light blue, have been promoted to driver status. The grandstands that hold the spectators were redesigned, now allowing every attendee to go in and out. How did everyone get in before? The sky above has since changed from sunset to night. Hello, MKTV helicopter. Even more visual tweaks will be covered later. And like all other tracks in the DLC, this one probably will appear in Tour 2. Tour Singapore Speedway wraps up the Boomerang Cup in style, looking and sounding quite stunning now. And it may incorporate all 3 variants in a very interesting way too. While all routes seem to progress in the usual directions, a hidden Mario Kart sign indicates a possible checkpoint for sections rather than standard laps. Other than this, one of the more interesting additions is the gliding section over the Art Science Museum that starts just before the 3 updrafts, which used to be 1, at the incline that may have been altered with the ramp removed. Vaguely similar to 3T in Tour, boost rings were added along this aerial path, and the arrow marks on the rooftop were cleaned off. Also below is the lower roof of the Marina Bay Sands, which now has 2 dash panels added, and the yellow ramp leading off to the road below was removed, as was one of the 2 red arrow signs. All the way to ground level, the sidesteppers may very well have been replaced by Goomba towers. On the other side of the bay at Merlion Park, all forms of water were updated significantly. The fountain jets seem to activate in different patterns than before, like how the middle sprays for just a split second here. This gives a nice view of the Marina Bay Sands, where we can see that the lights of the towers also have adjusted patterns, with the leftmost set being entirely different from before, while the lights of the middle and right sets were inverted. In the corridor between these 2 towers that leads into the Gardens of the Bay, the ramp presence differs now. Speaking of ramps, there may not be any along the forward-moving conveyor belts in the area anymore. Finally, the blimp no longer sports the Tour part of the logo, just leaving the base name of the series, Mario Kart. And that's all of the various changes we saw for the courses in the preview of Wave 4 coming next week, when we'll cover each track individually. This set may be one of the best yet, both in terms of new content and updates to the classics. But what do you think? How would you rank this set so far? And which track are you most looking forward to playing? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Booster Course Wave 4 for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and other things Nintendo too. Thanks for watching. Until next time, ciao.